Good evening and a very warm welcome to the first of our Thursday evening reflections during this season of Lent. Tonight we're going to think a little bit about choices and consequences. Just lately it has been impressed upon me quite forcibly that choices always have consequences. No matter which path we choose or what decisions we make, there are always certain consequences which will follow, either for the good or the bad, to produce blessing or maybe even disaster. Sometimes the consequences of those decisions can be difficult to live with, not what we expected or would have wanted. Looking back, I am so glad that the best choice I ever made was to follow Jesus Christ, was to place my heart and my life in his hands and seek to follow him in the power of the Holy Spirit. And that choice, of course, led on to other important choices that have been built upon it. Who I should marry, and the path that I took in terms of ordination and becoming a minister of the church. I wonder what choices you've made over the years and what the consequences have been. Some of them you look back with fondness, glad that you made that choice. Others you look back and think, if only I could revisit that or live that moment again. In that Bible passage from Luke chapter 23, verses 39 to 43, we have a picture of choice and consequence. We have two criminals, one on each side of Jesus as he hangs there on the cross of Calvary. One of the criminals, we're told, was hanging there and railed at Jesus, angrily, you might say. "Are you not the Christ? Save yourself and us." He spoke out of frustration, he spoke out of anger, he spoke out of rebuke. His heart was not right. He wanted more or less to get Jesus to get him down off that cross and let him go back to perhaps the life that he had been leading. But the other criminal was a bit more forward-thinking, you could say. He said, "Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed justly, for we are receiving the true reward of our deeds, but this man has done nothing wrong." And then he goes on to say to Jesus, "Remember me when you come to your kingdom," to which Jesus responds, "Today you will be with me in paradise." In a matter of moments, certainly as we read that, a matter of moments, choice and consequence take hold. The first man makes his choice perhaps subconsciously, that he's not really that interested in Jesus or making any type of acknowledgement of the life that he's led. Whereas the second man realizes that the condemnation he's under in his crucifixion is just. Perhaps he deserves what he's getting, but he knows that his time is running out and that the next stop will be eternity. The decision he has to make is to which eternity it's going to be. And he chooses wisely. He chooses to put himself in the hands of Jesus. Remember me when you come into your kingdom. I wonder today, have you put yourself in the hands of Jesus? Have you deliberately and deeply and profoundly made that choice for Christ? Because the choice you make has a consequence. The consequence of where you spend your eternity. There can be no other choosing and deciding process that has that level of importance. I urge you today, if you have not done it, to make your choice for Jesus, to acknowledge your sin, to acknowledge the fact that you can't make it on your own, to acknowledge the fact that Jesus is Lord and that you want him to take hold of your life, that you want to follow him. And in so doing, the consequence of that is that you will enter into an eternity where you see God, live in his presence, and enjoy him forever. I pray today in the season of Lent that you will make that choice and enjoy that consequence. Amen.